What's the purpose behind the marketing plan? You excite, you educate, experience, and engage. Let's do this, right? Let's do this and let's have fun with it too. To my first-time listeners, thank you for joining the show. I appreciate you being here. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, and I'm excited to chop it up with you today. Today, for episode 229, I'm going to just do a quick recap of SEMpdx Engage Marketing Conference for 2024. And it has been probably not even 24 hours since it ended, 48 hours from the first day. And I almost missed out and didn't get my ticket this year. And I'm very blessed to my man, Mike Terry. He hooked me up, making sure that he secured me a ticket before things got out of control and I couldn't get it. Man, let me first start off with the correct housekeeping of thanking my worldwide listeners that keep coming back to me over and over and over and over again. Yo, from the depths of me, of the depths of my heart, I just want to say thank you. Like, again, from the depths of me, when I say be you, right? I couldn't be me without your support. And so, which is why I do this podcast, because y'all know many times I'm like, oh, I'm not doing this, but I appreciate your ratings, your reviews, your shares, your likes. I appreciate it. And this is not about affirmation. I just, this is a lot of work. It costs money to do this, and it's free, So, when we put out free stuff, as business owners, we're like, oh man, should I keep doing it? So for my first time listeners, I want to say thank you for tuning in. It means the world of everything that you tuned in, because you didn't have to. And I know podcast is not like a cool Netflix video. So thank you for tuning into my podcast. What was my podcast? My podcast of the last almost 8 years. Crazy that I've been doing it for this long. And I appreciate all the support. It just feels good just to know that I'm out there helping people in the most simplest way as possible. And so I want to get into this topic today because I got to put on my glasses because they have an app that I want to show you. And let's see if I can show you this that I think is pretty cool. When you get here, so in the events, it has content, SEO, AI, PPC, and over here, they just didn't have like much of anything else. But when it comes to like the PPC, which is like pay-per-click, if I get back this way, maybe it's not the glare as much, but maybe it is. I can't show you exactly unless I took a screenshot. And I've already posted some photos, but I'll post some more. But the content, the SEO, AI, PPC, and of course AI is there. Overall, great conference. It was at the Portland State University. And what's crazy is I went 6 years ago in 2018. Now, I say crazy because, was it 2019? No, it was 2019, 5 years ago. And what was crazy about that, this conference this year was in October. The 2019 was in March. The one in March, and this is where I want to kind of give the recap so you can understand my frame of reference. So I've been doing marketing officially since 2015. I didn't become a marketing agency per my subcontractor's advice because as a nonprofit consultancy, it was hard finding the right nonprofits and booking the nonprofits, and the work is really hard and there wasn't a lot of pay. So as we were doing nonprofit consultancy and fundraising, a lot of that transitioned over to marketing. And then that's when she just said, like, Nathan, we're a marketing agency. And she told me that after we were networking. And so that feedback has been super valuable, which was like 2 years maybe. Yeah, it was about 2 years before I went to this conference, 3 years to this conference. So I'm learning marketing for the first time as an industry, and there's a huge vertical. And when you look at all the things of marketing, I always liken it to medicine. As I say, the definition of marketing in my own words is a untamed beast that doesn't sleep and always consuming something. So when it comes to marketing, oh my gosh, like you talk about me going to my first marketing conference, talking to marketing professionals, doing marketing, but not really understanding the whole breadth and depth of marketing was pretty significant for me to go to this first one, which was at one of the biggest hotels, the more prestigious hotels, and it was jaw dropping. I mean, the things people were talking about blew my mind, and I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to do that. So this conference here for Engage in 2024, it was nice for me to have those 5 years under my belt. And so when I looked at the calendar of events of the workshops I was going to go to, and look, they do a great job holding the workshops, the speakers. They go super deep, like from SEO, even the AI stuff was really good. And for me, a lot of the stuff that I knew. Maybe not SEO because I don't do SEO or PPC, paid ads. I do some of it, but I'm not an expert in it. What I'm an expert in is in strategy. That's one of the biggest things I did not hear. There is one that I went to. There could have been others that someone focused on frameworks. I'm like, man, this is me. This is where I'm going to stay. This is where I love it here. And when we talk about framework, especially when I talk to clients or when especially when they ask me, like, what do you do? What specifically can you help me with? I'm like, look, I can help you digitize and monetize your channels by ensuring that your marketing and technology stack of operating and marketing, I bumped the mic, of marketing when it comes to your technology, apps, software, platforms can talk. Not just API, that application protocol interface that's just a plug and play. It's not just through the API, but it works throughout your company to where as you're working hard, like hard working at your value proposition, you're also working smarter. Because there's several ways for you to do from project management, operations management, tasks, and execution in a way that you can automate it and duplicate it. And that's my bread and butter. And it is funny to see people not understanding, like, oh, that's a thing. Like, yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. So this conference, for me, when I look at it, like, man, I know the president, Kent Lewis. He's a regular. For those that know Kent Lewis, he's the co-founder. I didn't know that. In this year of marketing, oh man, you talk about two major things happening, which Google all along has been messing up the algorithm. But now they got that whole antitrust suit happening, right? Where people are going to Google's going to get broken up. And then number two, AI. Yeah, AI was a thing last year, but you're starting to see AI come along with AI and Google. That's, Google is also just the beginning of all tech platforms that may go through a dramatic change, but Google is going to be the example, if you will. In these workshops, they talked a lot about that. And it's always been like marketers versus Google. But now we're about to see it in action. So when it comes to some of the takeaways and deliverables, people are just wanting to help their clients the best way they can. But folks are also showing up to help their business, as in, I have a business. I want to know and be on the end. And then you have leaders that are coming to figure out how they can help their department and their company. The last time I went, it was a lot of, it was more people, but these people were from, which they were all over from the country, but these people were from all over the country, and they were just like doers, in my opinion. This conference felt like it was more leaders and decision makers and independent consultants and business owners. So, what I'll say to my first takeaway was, man, the presentations were awesome and they were deep. My second takeaway was like, oh my gosh, we are all in the throes of a new way of doing business, just straight up new way of doing business, period. I went to some SEOs and PPC workshops, and look, the Google algorithm is messing up the ads like crazy. And what we know as SEO is blending with SEM, the search engine optimization to search engine marketing. We now know that Google is guilty, allegedly found guilty of not following the antitrust rules. So they are in violation of it, and now Google's going to get broken up because their search results, those SERPs, search engine results pages on Google, has not been fair. How they started it was all fair. They were relevant, but Google is a different beast than they were when they first started in '96, especially in the dawn of where we started to, it was one thing when it's on the browser, like on the computer, but it's another thing when we get on to our phone. That's a completely different search. So in these workshops, just hearing the 3 integrations of how you could write an ad on AI, you optimize your page, and that blog that you just wrote in AI went on your website, how to rank for it, but then how you then go about promoting it. For the first time, and again, I can't show you, I didn't go too much of the content ones, but some of them was the content ones that I was like, oh, there was something different. Some of the content ones I would have loved to go to because I think some of that may have that framework in it. But some of the feedback was that came back to SEO, or it came back to, and I'm just gonna put, just click on one here. It says, content, make inclusion the default. Discover actionable strategies to make your marketing more inclusive by avoiding FOMO, which is the fear of messing up. So the content one had some interesting topics. For example, here's the title. Oh my gosh, that person is loud with their car. Calm down. How to unlock organic potential and stay relevant by harnessing digital PR and collaborative strategies for SEO success. So, the topics are great. I think the speakers are great. And I think if you attend something like this, you're definitely going to get something out of it. So number one, great integration, or I should say, like the topics were great. I just wish they would have had more framework, because a lot of people there are focused on strategy. I'm there for strategy. That's what I do, right? Which leads to number two, is really good to have, AI, SEO, PPC, paid, all kind of combined as one, because that's how everybody was kind of talking about it. And I love how they gave like real examples, like case study examples, which leads to number three. I'm really happy that the folks I think he was saying like they started this in 2005, so almost 20 years of doing this, and I'm still grateful people in the marketing industry are working together. Like I don't see that in any other industry, like say banking. You may have a banking conference, and you might have a doctor's conference, but we're like, I don't know any other industry that you can put the same folks vying for the same customer, right? But we're all working together to say, hey, no, you need to do this, or you use that app, or you need this line of code. I've never seen that in another industry. We may be competitors as in getting the work done and getting the business, but getting great work, doing great work is really important to all the professionals there. So, I tip my hat off to the SEMpdx Engage conference folks for all their hard work. As you know, in the last podcast that I talked about my own conference, I gave you the 3 cons and the 3 pros. I don't really have any cons just because um, putting on something like that is a lot of work. And for the value I got from it, if I was to give any con, I just want something for strategy. But with that being said, and some folks did talk strategy about how they're saying, hey, look, this is tactical, this is basic, this is fundamental. These are all things that we should all be doing. But look, it changed because the Thanos snap. We know that the Thanos snap is when algorithms change and both social and digital, everything changes. But like, for example, TikTok is now becoming a point of conversation in the marketing world just as much as Google, because Google is now indexing TikTok feeds, and TikTok searches are like one of the top ranking for products. Google lost that. It's just like when Starbucks lost the trophy to best coffee to McDonald's. It's like, what? That's the changing the right changing of the guard. So with SEMpdx Engage conference, I was really impressed with how at the end of the day they put this all together. It's a lot of work to do all those workshops, and it was they started at 9. And let me just come to the schedule. That I just want to say to good job. Like the registration breakfast was 8:30, welcome was 8, and then there was something for 9, 10, 11. Lunch was at noon, and then we had 1, 2, 3, and it's 2:10, 3:10, 4:10, and then each day I didn't stay for all day Friday. Which was yesterday for me, but they had they had one on Thursday, which I stayed for a happy hour event, and on that Friday they had a cool pool, kind of like the same thing. I wasn't able to go to it because I needed to get home, but it was a wrap party. It was in the game lounge, the Viking room. That's the Portland State University's mascot, a Viking. So it was really cool that you have those opportunities to network, because, again, this is not just a local event. People come from out of town. And it was cool that people did stay. They did network. I mean, just to hear the big names there, and they were all approachable. They were all cool. So if you haven't checked this out, make sure you check it out. It's good to go to conferences, especially in your industry, so you can stay on top of your game. And for me, again, my biggest takeaway was the fact that now that I am more of a seasoned, as I will say, a marketing expert, which I don't always like saying expert, but I'm an expert in what I do. But seeing and watching and learning so much about the other areas, and especially in the different industries. Some folks only serve restaurants. Some folks only do manufacturing. Some only do investment. Some only do retail or food and beverage. And it's crazy because the sky's the limit. There's not anything that marketing doesn't touch. And it's from the, sourcing the goods to customer service and the loyalty program. There's not one facet or element or component that the marketing team does not touch. And so it's so awesome just to hear the stories and the takeaways. And I, again, take my hat off to the committee at SEMpdx for putting this on. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And for those that are still listening, to say, okay, what did I get out of that? Hey, make sure you go to these conferences that are within your industry. I didn't network as much as I wanted to, but I learned a ton. And guess what I'm going to do now? I'm going to apply that to my own business. So you make sure you go to your conferences that you need to apply, have it apply to your business, because at the end of the day, if you ain't getting no one to come down them funnels, then you ain't gonna have no customers. You ain't gonna have no clients, and that's not what we don't want. So I wish you nothing but the best. I'll put the SEMpdx Engage conference in the show notes. Make sure you check it out. For those that are interested, anyone can come, not just marketers, but I'm going to tell you, for my first one, still being in the industry from 5 years ago, it was a lot. So if you want to go to this, hit me up. Hey, we can talk about going together for next year. I think I'm going to do, if I can, I'm going to do a presentation. So check it out. If you haven't already, go to the SEMpdx and see if that's something you want to attend. I support all y'all. Keep doing your business. Keep holding it down. We need y'all. So with that, you heard it first here at Let's Talk Marketing with N-Dubs podcast. So I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. I'm out. Hey, if you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please share this episode with others that may be interested in this topic. And also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes. Get in touch in the comments or social media networks. See you next week for the next episode.